Cristhian, how you doing, man?
Good, man. How are you?
Very, very good, man. Trying to stay cool out there. It's getting hot, but staying cool.
It's finally for real,
Right.
It's a for real summer now.
It's getting there.
Colorado's been playing with us for a couple months already. Like, it's gonna be hot, maybe not. Here's some snow for you. This is June. Here, more snow.
Right. So I feel you. Like I have a jacket in my car right now just in case, because you never know. You really never know.
You never know.
Yeah.
All right. So, what's going on?
Today we have our friend here, Danielle from
Canna Latino.
I was gonna say Canna Latino, but I'll say Canna Latino. Yeah.
It could be,
Sure.
It's like
Either
the
or.
English version of the Latino.
right.
Canna Latino.
Canna Latino.
It's like eating tortillas and enchiladas.
Burrito.
A burrito.
Or a burrito.
Yeah. We try to make it sound more English in order to make it more,
So
I don't know, less Latino, I
That's
guess?
Latino. Yeah.
do you or do you not serve quesadillas?
Yeah, totally.
What is that? You mean quesadilla? Quesadilla. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That's exactly
Avocado.
what I said.
Avocado. There we go.
Avocado. So like avocado. What is that? Avocado.
There you go. But it's finally we finally hit him summer now. It's finally time for some good water and nice parties outside and good barbecue and now we have some medical marijuana
Yes.
to learn for.
To go with your 4th of July party.
There you go.
And then with everything that you have,
Exactly.
it's definitely safer and better than alcohol. So we can try it. And legal here.
There you go.
It's illegal, safe.
3 hours later, you're sober and you're good to go.
Yes.
With alcohol, you have to wait like 2 days before.
Totally.
Exactly.
And plus the migraine, like the hangover it depends on how.
The older they get, it seems like the worse you hangover gets. It's like
Totally.
my hangover lasts like 2 days.
Yeah, I was
The
gonna
older
say.
you get, things get harder.
Yeah,
In general.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
just
yeah.
the hangover.
that's true.
I'm embarrassed to admit it, but yeah, for me it's a couple day recovery.
Yeah.
I'll say 1 day, but it's a 2 day.
So you ever had like a one day that you wake up and you're like, Jesus, I'm injured.
Right.
I was just sleeping. What
Right.
happened?
I feel a lot, especially because I don't drink that much anymore. And since I'm taking cannabis for medical reasons, I'm also, like getting out of all the things that make me feel bad. And migraines, in my case, was one of the worst things. So for the hangovers, mix alcohol, the dehydration with the migraines is like you really want to crawl a hole and die there directly. So I really feel how intoxicated I am after drinking 2-3 beers. That's it.
That's
I'm
it for
already
you.
like, oh no, I feel bad. Like my stomach my whole body start like experimenting. Like, hey, hold on, things that it doesn't happen with cannabis right now with me.
And actually, I don't think it happens with
Anyway,
anybody
You don't
because
have
I
a
never,
hangover.
I never feel like hangover back in the day when I used to smoke. I never feel like after
Right.
You come down from
Some kind of pain.
from your trouble. You're like, I'm fine. I'm good to go. Yeah.
Maybe just gain weight from all the munchies and stuff, but
But
that's
you-
even a good thing.
But we're
honestly.
talking about the same thing with the beer.
Yeah.
When you go out and drink a couple beers, you start eating, burgers and
You
extra
start
large
feeling it.
fries.
no, and the whole beer, start working in your abs
And
stay there.
exactly.
So you start with a 6-pack and you ended up with the whole cage.
Okay.
Not to mention your liver.
Yeah.
I saw this funny meme where some guy's just like staring at his beer, but you could see he's thinking, and then the meme says, "Shut up, liver. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it anyway," or something. But it's true. There's times where you're feeling it, and you're like, God, it's a sacrifice, but you just jump in.
It's crazy because it's like that it's bad for you. Like beer,
It's a poison. You
yeah.
can't digest it. It's a poison.
Yeah,
you intoxicate yourself every weekend
Right.
if you go out.
but that's what we know, and that's one of the things that we have to change. We are used to party and do everything that is related with fun, also with drugs.
Yeah.
You know, like we don't know how to party without alcohol. We don't know how to party without any drugs. You know, like we used to do raves and stuff. Like, yeah, let's try this.
Right.
I personally never tried, you know, like illegal acid or anything. That it was like in concerts that because I have also heart problems and I was super scared that I was gonna be the one that, you know, like ended up dead and like not everybody had fun because she died.
It was a good party, but one little thing happened.
Exactly. Yeah.
A little bit of cocaine, but it turned out she had a heart problem.
Danielle,
Like, let's stay there.
Danielle died, but it was a great show. It was a good show. Yeah.
But on the other hand, I was having more medication and more drugs than all my friends because I was already in so many medication, not just for the heart, for the migraines, for the back pain, for, you know, like a lot of things, mental problems as well. So I was taking a lot of medication, a lot of opioid derivative, and also I was drinking alcohol because no one tell you cannot drink anymore once you have this. Okay, you can take benzodiazepine and it's not going to kill you a lot, but if you drink one beer, yeah, that's a different mix, and that makes also lethal that medication. So doctors did not tell you that. They probably will tell you, like, if you're drinking antibiotics, don't drink.
Right.
You know, like
it's on the bottle. Yeah. True.
But it you know, like it's not even a study that if you drink antibiotics, the effect, and you drink alcohol, the effects goes away.
Right.
You know, it's not even, there's no enough
There's
studies
no
that prove that. So,
science behind it, yeah.
But we think about that one, we don't think about what is the reaction of this drug plus this another drug. And that's how, you know, like we get in trouble and we have the situation that we have today, that is people dying with no knowledge for opioids and for regular medication.
Mexican and all this stuff.
She sounds like, I think you were going to say exactly what I was going to say. She sounds like you have a lot of knowledge in this. Why don't you introduce our guest to like exactly what you do and who you are?
Right.
Totally.
Is that where you were going? I could.
Yeah. I mean, that would be good so people know who we're talking. They would be like, because two fools are always talking about it.
Right. Because even I'm like, who is it?
What are we talking about?
Right.
Well, my name is Danielle Espinel. I'm the founder of Cana Latino. We are a media channel of education that help the Latino community to understand mostly medical marijuana. And I say mostly medical marijuana because I don't believe in recreational marijuana. I believe that every cannabis that you're going to have in your body and that you're going to absorb through your endocannabinoid system, it will make good to your body. So every cannabis consumption, it's a medical cannabis for me, in my point of view, and the point of view of some doctors as well. The difference is, you know, you cannot overdose, but you can feel very bad. So if you work your dosage and if you know, like do it with respect, it will always do good for you.
Give you some benefit on it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the problem. And it seems like with everything in our society, anything that we find out there's a good thing, but if we find out there has like some weird effect in our bodies, you know, we tend to abuse that, you know, like this one is for you cold, but it'll get you happy too, you know, if you're drinking. Oh, let's abuse that. That's why they ask for ID when you go buy NyQuil at the store.
Exactly. I was gonna touch on that. I have your ex coworker, and I have a current coworker that they seem to always at some point in the morning mention, I did the ZQuil, I did the NyQuil, I did the ZQuil. And they were like, I just use it to sleep. And I was like, can't you just sleep? And they're like, probably, but you sleep better with this. And I'm like, as soon as, like you're saying, as soon as we have something that feels semi-good, we just take it too far. I'm like, you're going to get addicted. I mean, you could just sleep. I know it feels probably good, but you don't need to overdo it. Yeah.
No, nothing. Actually, that's one of even with food, we do that with food. When I start thinking, you know, like I start feeling better with cannabis. I was using cannabis for medical reason, like I said before. So I have my prescription for cannabis and I was feeling great. So I start eating better. I started, like looking for better things, making good choices. And then I discovered chia. I love chia and I went crazy about chia. And chia is amazing, by the way. But if you take a lot of chia, that will also have some issues in your intestines. So
there you go.
I was starting with a pain. Like, what is that? And then like you cannot have chia every day, 3 times a day.
Right.
I love chia, but amazing.
I gotta tell family members that they're really into chia, but they have complained about stomach issues.
You see?
And nobody's brought up the chia, so I'm glad I'm hearing that. So.
Right.
Yeah. I'll be like, this healthy thing you're having.
Yeah. Just let's balance everything.
Exactly.
And I think it's that,
Right.
it's a balance. It's to create the homeostasis in your body, which is the first thing that cannabis can help you do. Is in homeostasis is that everything work in perfect balance. So we have the perfect balance in our body between our systems and also between our cells. So I think it's try to create homeostasis all over our life,
Right.
in every single situation.
Next time you look at that buffet, just homeostasis the whole thing.
Yeah, like
settle
keep
down.
the balance.
Yeah. I mean, and that should be with everything, absolutely with everything, just your food, drinks. I mean, because there's nothing wrong if you want to have a beer, but when you take that one beer to 20.
Right, on a Tuesday afternoon.
And also the period of time while you take it, like the alcohol, again, you start poisoning your body since the beginning, but you start feeling it after, I think it's 1.5 ounces of alcohol, which is like the regular drink that you can have in an hour. Then after that, you will be putting more alcohol than what your body can tolerate. And that's what you get intoxicated and start feeling crazy.
Each person's different. Like in your case, I'm curious, like we all could take weed at a certain level and each body reacts to it differently. But I know that it's got some neurological things where if you're an anxious person, for some, it might make you more anxious. I happen to hear you just say that you mentioned like you had anxiety issues or like.
Oh, I have mental problems. Okay, the whole thing.
And that was
like
my question. Like, how did I'm curious to know how weed became a positive in your case, because it would be a little hard to bet like homeostasis, that whole thing. But
especially with the mind, because definitely cannabis is a drug that it was not going to kill you. It will not gonna, create a damage in your organ, but it also will create a weird sensation in your in your mind. Like especially marijuana, because cannabis is the family of the plants, and we have hemp and marijuana. Mm-hmm. The hemp is legal in the 50 states in the United States, and it was also declassified this year thanks to the farmers' bill that it was signed December 2018. So we're still in diapers, like with this new industry. But we have to have that very clear. Like we have hemp that is not psychoactive and marijuana that is psychoactive. And I take both. And I take a ratio of 1:1 or 2:1 or sometimes even 25:1, being CBD higher than THC sometimes. And again, the menthol, it gets you high. To some people, it makes them hallucinate. And I will explain that in a few seconds because it's amazing the way that happened. And people doesn't know, but it take you, like you can see things, you can, and for mental patients, sometimes people thinking, okay, how are you going to put an hallucinogen into a mental patient that is going to think that people are talking? You already hear voices. I don't, but there's people, no, a lot. And it's been working amazingly for schizophrenia as well. So, because it calms you down. So it's about the strains, the medication, and the dosage, and doing this with a doctor, especially if you have a condition. Find a doctor, go see a doctor. The United States have a lot of doctors here. This is something that is going on. We have more than 30 I think it's 36 states that it's already legal and 11 states recreational. So we have enough information here to find doctors. And I think this is the first thing that you have to do. So there's a huge difference between I'm going to smoke a joint with my friends without not knowing any condition or any mental condition that I have, or going to a doctor, because in my case, I have PTSD. So for PTSD, they pretty much prescribe you everything. It's because it's
kind of to see what works, right? Hopefully one of them works.
And not just that, PTSD can also give you bipolar disease. It can give you schizophrenia. It can give you, because it really take your brain into a repetitive stage of panic.
Gotcha.
So whatever can happen in your brain, and we have a lot of people in this country, especially from veterans, they are suffering for PTSD. And by the time that they come here and, they come back to the United States because they were deployed, when they come back, they already have 16 prescription.
Jesus.
Already. This is this is your prescription. And none of those are cannabis, which is working amazingly for PTSD and it's saving life. So for that condition, it's been incredible in my case and in the cases of all my friends that are veterans as well. I'm not a veteran. I'm a regular person, a regular mom, a citizen, and that's another thing. 133 people in the United States commit suicide every day for PTSD. Jeez. And only 22 are veterans. The rest is people that they just couldn't make it.
Yeah.
They just couldn't pay the taxes. They didn't figure it out how. And they, they give up.
If you don't mind me asking, which type were you, or what took you to a PTSD level? Or if you want to be specific, what mental health exactly were you dealing with?
Oh, well, I've been, since I'm little, since I was little, I was like a trouble kid. And, gotcha. Oh, my God, yeah, this kid doesn't stay. And she walks into the walls, and typical ADHD kid. I'm just describing an ADHD kid. So when I was little, they treated it as a depression, as a clinical depression, because, of course, when you're starting school and everybody's telling you you're doing that wrong, this is bad, don't do that, stop. When you are, a teenager, you think that your life is all mistakes.
Right.
So we have to be very also careful with what we tell our kids. In my case, again, not just for that, I have PTSD for a lot of things. My kid was diagnosed with autism when he was 5. Then I have the big diagnosis when he was 7. And when I went with his neurologist, the first thing that he said is like, what do you take for your spectrum? I'm like, what? No, I have depression. And he was like, no. This kid is generally yours. So and you do the same things. And he started asking me things how do I react, and describe my reaction. And I was like, how do you know?
Who have you been talking to?
Exactly. Like, well, welcome to the umbrella of the autism. And then my kid, he turned suicidal when he was 13. I'm also from Venezuela, so it's a very, very bad country right now.
A lot going on, yeah.
I live a few things there that I don't think anyone can live. I have that episode with my kid as well. And I also had a car accident here 4 years ago as well, where one of these people that I'm telling you that take their life every day, he just jumped in front of my car.
Jesus.
So I've been diagnosed with PTSD for several reasons. I've been into a psychiatric place. Before I was as well with cannabis, I was in a psychiatric place. And I was looking for every type of help. My organs start failing. When I was in the facility, they told me, well, we cannot give you more medication. You are already in the top of the medication, so let's try with electroshock. Sure. That's when I decide to be a pothead. Okay. That's why I'm saying, you know what? I've been trying everything. And as a Latina, I'm afraid to try cannabis because
the stigma, right?
The stigma. What am I gonna say? Imagine my family, my whole thing. But
those
I was
potheads, los marihuanos. Yeah, the older crowd, the way they look down on
totally
weed and weed smokers.
But I was willing to fry my brain for this. You know, like I was looking every single thing that can help me and help my family and my whole situation, because you don't feel well when you have a mental illness. You know, it's not. I know a lot of people doesn't see it and think that everybody's okay, and probably would be saying, "Oh my God, no, this lady is perfect. You know, she doesn't have anything." But it's as bad as you're, you know, losing a limb or you know, a leg or something, or you're just don't have it visible for people. So people treat you. It's a true
disability, right? It's a true disability.
It's totally, it will let you down in your bed for even weeks if you have to.
Yeah.
And it does not discriminate anyone.
But how did you know in this case what took you to, like, of all things, like what made you think weed might help? Like that
last resort?
Yeah. Yes, last resort. Like I was telling you, you know, like I was afraid, but we moved to Colorado 6 years ago, and that's how everything started. I wasn't even thinking before that to, you know, like experiment with cannabis or anything. And then I was in a hospital for migraines, and one of the doctors he was seeing me a few times, and I think it was like 4 or 3 months that we moved, and I was already like 4 or 5 times or 3 times. I don't remember how many, but every time that I have my periods also, I have migraines, and my migraines are like horrible. My bleedings are like horrible, you know, everything is in pain.
Go ahead.
Yeah. It's what we are, honey.
It is.
That's another stigma that we have to, you know, we all bleed. Yeah, and we don't die.
True. You guys
we're that amazing.
Every month and still alive.
Exactly, we're that amazing. So yeah, what happened is this doctor saw me there, and by that time they were doing kind of like a cocktail with Benadryl and Percocet for the pain. So when I was like, you know, like totally drugged, that you are like, whoa, and you're falling to sleep, and the doctors tell you, I'm gonna turn all the light and everything so you can sleep. That in that moment, this doctor came to me and told me, you live in a state where cannabis is legal. Please look for help, because we're killing you.
Wow.
The next day, I was in a cannabis doctor in Boulder that I love, Dr. Cohen from Hollows Hell. He's the best. And he's also specialized in women medicine. Uh-huh. So it was perfect, you know, for me to talk about my migraines, my endometriosis, my back pain, you know, like every cyst that my body developed, because it's a genetic condition as well. And again, I was trying every single thing on a medical basis. I had surgeries. I had all the, you know, medication. I tried really everything. Wow. And when I start talking to this doctor, and he starts explaining to me about the endocannabinoid system, a whole system that we have in our body, that it was discovered in 1991. You know, it's super new. But this system, we have receptors all over our body, and this system is specifically designed to create the homeostasis in our body. Right. You know, the great harmony, the great balance that we're looking. So this is definitely a plant that it have the characteristics to make a phytocannabinoid, which is a cannabinoid from the plant, that is exactly the same as a cannabinoid that we also produce.
Gotcha.
And we produce when we are in homeostasis, when we're happy, when we're having kids, when we're, you know, when doing things that our bodies are meant to be doing.
Nice. And you found this.
Yeah. No, I was thinking how crazy is a lot of this medication that everybody gets normally when you go to the doctor or the hospital. A lot of this medication tend to attack some other organs in your body. You know, it's not just like the problem you might have. It tends to attack like your liver, you know, kidneys, things like that.
They have to do it that way because in order to react the chemicals, what we're trying, and that's one of the things, the difference between cannabis, that and the regular medication. Because for other medication, you need to have different chemicals in order to fool your blood cell barrier, for example, with the painkillers and antidepressant. We have to put something inside the tablets or inside the pill that it will fool those securities systems that we have in our body in order to create the balance and stop the pain and cut the alarm, because that's exactly what this medication does. Cannabis is so amazing that we don't need anything to fool our body. Our body have receptors for the same chemistry that is in the plant. And more than that, going back to the hallucination stuff that I was telling you, this is the perfect moment to explain it.
Right.
Because when you eat cannabis, you are changing the molecule. It's completely different than when you smoke it. Mm-hmm. So when you eat cannabis, you are already eating an active THC, and that THC, it's called the delta 9 molecule of tetrahydrocannabinol. So it will change your molecule in your body, and your liver will process it and will turn it into a different molecule, which is tetrahydrocannabinol hydroxy 11.
Right.
And that molecule that is made, it's already transformed to your own amino acid. Yeah, so it's already part of your body.
Right.
It changes, but it's already part of your body, not the plant anymore. So it's now your chemical, and it goes to your brain. And sometimes it can be as hard as LSD.
Wow.
So that's why when people, there's also people that say, oh, smoking is not the same as eating. Of course it's not. Right. You will not have the effect of an LSD when you're smoking, but you will have it if you eat it in some organisms.
And somewhere.
Not everybody's the same.
It's like taking food, right? Because your body takes it as food, because it literally is food.
It is.
So it's prepared to take it chemically as food. And that makes it different in your body and your reaction different. But in your case, I'm kind of really happy that not only does it sound like this doctor saved your life, but like, especially here in Colorado with the stigma and stuff, and we're a little loose on it, but here's a case where it literally, weed or cannabis literally saved your life. And now you're defending it, you're teaching it and promoting it.
Well, more than promoting and educating.
Education.
Because I really don't want that everybody smoke cannabis. I don't want a kid that doesn't need to have it, to have any condition and doesn't need it, get drugged. Because definitely, again, being drugged is not right. It's not fun. For me, that it's been, like medical, and they have to give you medication and you feel really drugged. And it's not nice. It's not something that I'm looking for, or anyone, I think. The monkey on the back for the
you might be surprised.
For the opioids, it's horrible. Every time that I have, again, this medication, even for the migraines, I was described this, I feel like someone is pulling out my back. And then a friend of mine tell me, do you know what is the monkey on the back for the heroin? I'm like, no, but I think I've been feeling it my whole life, and that is horrible. That is, I don't know. I really don't know why someone do this for fun. It's not, I don't know. Again, it's probably because in my case, I've been taking medication for something real. I never tried it with friends having fun.
Right.
But I don't think it's going to change the way they make you feel.
Yeah. Your experience is a little different. Like,
that's a good point.
Because I remember you telling me that basically you smoking weed and things like this is kind of make you function, right? Mm-hmm. It's like you need it. It's not like, for me, it would be more like, I just want to smoke some,
Right,
for you, it's like you need it in order to function every day, right?
Exactly. In order to wake up, in order to go to sleep, in order to focus my mind, like when I have to concentrate and like really do some job. For me, for example, and that is something that I recommend to everybody who have ADHD. There's a strain called Durban Poison. It's amazing for concentration. It's a high sativa. Sometimes people doesn't like sativas because it's a little bit high rates on the heart, and like people feel. But if you smoke small amounts, again, it's about microdosage, and it's about to get the concentration that you need. If I have to have that one, especially to work, like to create these amazing magazines and book and everything that I do with Canna Latino, I really have to, like connect with myself and center. And it's like the same feeling that I think we're looking when we give kids Ritalin or Adderall. They're also one molecule away from meth.
Jesus.
And we create addict.
That's what I'm about to say. Is that those will get you addict to. And the other thing is the like now that you mentioned about the concentration with the marijuana, that's actually kind of true. In my case, I did it a couple of times to go to concerts, but I didn't do it because I was like want to concentrate in the concert. I was more like I just want to have fun, But I don't smoke weed because the way I react to marijuana is like it's no fun to me. It's like I just stay quiet and kind of think about things.
You concentrate.
Yeah.
It's probably good when you want to write a book, but not for a concert.
But this is my thing when I went to the concert, though. So I smoke a little bit, and this is how dumb it is. Like it's ridiculous because the amount I smoke, it was just like 2 puffs and I was good to go, It's not like some of my friends, they can smoke the whole store and
the whole night, yeah.
and they'll be fine. No, mine was like two puffs and I was ready to go to the concert. And the thing, it was amazing. The concert was amazing because I was concentrating in the music. Like I can hear, in the middle of the noise, people, and music very loud. I can hear the guitars, I can hear the drums, I can hear the singer. But I can hear like it's like I will have headphones and they will isolate the sounds. Like, for
like every channel.
Every channel. Yeah, that's kind of, I hear it. I was like, if I decide to concentrate on a guitar player, I would just hear the guitar player. If I concentrate on the drummer, I would hear that. And I was like, this is amazing, It's like awesome. For the concert, but like.
But that's the beauty of that as well. Like there's people that really wanted to go to a concert for that matter. And that is amazing. Again, it depends on how do you take it, what do you take it. And the strains are super important because they really gonna work with your mood. I think a lot of people that are listening right now, they're like from the United States. People know about cannabis more than the Latino community,
especially in this state. Yeah.
Oh, totally. Everybody knows what's a strain. Everybody know what strain is taken.
Yeah. So for me, one time I took an edible. And
oh wow!
And I think I don't know. We have a friend who's a big time smoker, and he was like, "Here's this brownie, and just eat half, and you'll be fine." And of course, like any dumb amateur guy in this,
like any good friend, you just said, "Okay."
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay." I was by myself, so I was like, "Cool," just grab one beer, gonna eat half, and 30 minutes, nothing happened. You're like, this is not gonna do anything.
Yeah, let me have the other half.
Yeah. So Jesus, 2 hours later, I was sitting down on the couch, can't even get up, and I was just watching some YouTube videos, and YouTube has a play automatically, and I was just laughing, dying. I just remember dying, laughing, and I was like, the next day, I was still high. The next day, I was high for like 2 days actually. It was kind of crazy. I slept a lot. That part was nice.
Best sleep in your life.
But then I went and see the history, like what I was watching while I was laughing. So it was the dumbest videos ever. Like it was a ridiculous stuff.
But sometimes it's okay to be dumb. Like life it's not that serious. It's like I don't know. It doesn't. It's not really that important.
I would never laugh. If I would be sober, I would never laugh at those videos. True. I love funny movies and laugh, but not to the stupid stuff.
They will not be that funny.
Yeah.
If you were not there.
But yeah, it's like how I don't know. Like how much you're supposed to eat or the effect of like an edible. And to me, I was like, this is nothing.
It's kind of like what she was saying, the
type of effect.
To have a good doctor or someone that knows the levels, because even though we're trying to, even alcohol does the same, right? You and your friends find everything funny, but the next day you're just like, wow, nobody made sense. Nothing was positive, but it was fun. But like, to balance our fun when it comes to this, like especially someone like you in your case, that you're taking other medications and stuff. At any point, did weed not become fun? Because to you, it seems like it's a medicine. So like,
I don't get that anymore. I don't get high anymore. If that is, like what you're saying, I don't.
Yeah, because we would look at it like, oh, okay, we're gonna smoke, we'll have a little bit of fun. But to you, does it ever feel like that?
Not anymore. Like, and the first time that I tried weed when I was like younger, like with your friends, like, yeah, smoke a weed, like whatever. I didn't like it. I didn't feel like the way that I feel right now because I was high and I didn't like to get high. I don't like to be high. I don't like to lose control of my abilities. For me, it's been the opposite. Like I've been thinking that sensation with other medication my whole life. So for me, it was the opposite. So when I start to take cannabis with like medicine, it's a whole process like a medication. And like a medication, it's the same thing. Like when you start antidepressive, your doctor will tell you, or any medication, like they can give you drognosis or it can make you dizzy. It will tell you, like don't drive, don't do this, don't, like see how it goes, and let's watch the dosage and how it goes. So the first week, I was a little bit loopy and a little bit going, like lower the dosage, write it down, put a little bit high, like for the nights. And then I just start feeling myself without medication, like really good, but without needing medication. And since the methods of deliveries are also different than regular medication, you feel healthier. You really feel that you're getting better. And that is a great feeling that not any other medication give me. And that's what I call hope. I tell people cannabis really give me hope because I was already done with all the medication. Again, I was about to try electricity in my brain,
right?
Which is, that's not already the regular chemistry, like take this pill. No, right. I was willing to do anything, and I was going with all the doctors' advices. But this really changed the whole game because I start feeling great. I start making, easy decisions. I think that this has happened to everybody, but I couldn't make lists. Like I didn't have any methodology for my life, not even go to the bathroom, like it was like, okay, and how, what do I have to do to go to the bathroom? Then, it's like, okay, how do I start? Do I pull my pants out or do I sit first? It's that bad when you are in those situations. So what cannabis make me feel, it was like, okay, I give you back your methodologies. I give you back your list. I give you the basic, and I was able to control my life again.
Nice. How many pills you were taking at the time when you were taking pills? Like,
wow, a lot.
For her to say wow, a lot.
Yeah.
At least every day I had at least 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 12.
I was taking 44.
Because, for example, I had a time that it was the migraines. They send sumatriptan, which I still take some, like sometimes instead of going to the hospital to get the Percocet. When I have very bad days, I still take, like some of the regular painkillers. So this one, it was they told me like I can have half a pill, it was like 50 milligrams every 2 hours if my pain continue.
Jeez.
Without, like, it's okay. Just take it. You will fall asleep.
Wow.
I was like, if I fall asleep, we're all gonna fall dead.
Or die.
Which one are we waiting for?
Right. Are you
What should
trying
we
to get
hope
rid
for?
of me? Are you trying to get rid of me?
There's an easy solution for your pain.
I had an antidepressive that I called my doctor once, and I said, dude, the only thing that I didn't have was suicidal thought, and now I'm thinking it. He's like, no, stop the medication. That's one of the side effects. I'm like, really? It's not a side effect for people, for an antidepressive,
Wow. Exactly.
It's like when you're, find anything with that help that patient, you just give them that pill and that's it. It will fix it.
Right. He goes,
will not
well,
come
that's
back.
something we forgot to mention, that you are going to want to end your life
Whoops.
if you take this pill.
And again, it's written. It's one of the side effects, and it's a super common pill that we even send. Like people take it even to quit smoking.
Jesus.
So
you went from like 10 pills a day to how many now?
I have a lot of days that I don't take pills.
Nice.
I just take gummies. And again, since the delivery is different, I even have butter that I can make by food. And I really think that I learned that God it's so smart that he put our medicine in our food. So, and I think that's the reason why I did the book. It's the first recipe book written in Spanish for cannabis patients and for cannabis users.
Very nice.
So
What's the name of the book?
the name of the book is What I Know and Some Recipes.
Very nice. what I know and
Some recipes. Yes, I just was honest.
Nice.
Because it's like what I know so far, and not really. I know a little bit more, but it's more complicated to go from there only in one book.
It's gonna be a big book if you put everything right.
Yes, and I don't know if at the half of the book people will say, "Now, do I really need to read about all these chemicals and things?" I'm kind of like a nerd, and again, I'm under this spectrum, so my fixation is study. So I love when I get something, like when I love something, I just really passionate, and this is why I'm doing and what I'm doing this right now as well.
Nice.
Let's talk about one of the myths of weed, about how addictive is, and how a lot of people think is the bridge to another drugs. How much?
Or say that it's not addictive. Some people defend that point of view too.
Yeah. That's kind of my question. Like, how true, is behind that?
We have also addictive personalities. So our bodies are already a percentage addicted to everything. You can be addicted to knock the door, to pull your hair, to sex. That's very, very, very easy.
after Tiger Woods, a lot of people
Exactly.
came out, came out really close.
A lot of people realize they were amateurs.
But
After
food,
Tiger Woods,
for example, food is also a huge addiction, and we need food to live. So it doesn't mean that like you have an addiction of food, you stop eating.
Exactly.
But cannabis is the less addictive drug that we have in the market. It's even less addictive than sex, because with sex we also produce dopamines and different drugs from our own body. So it's less addictive than any drug, and it's not true that it's the gateway drug. Actually, it's the getaway drug.
The getaway.
It's been using with a lot of success for treating addictions. Actually, it's been incredible because it's a drug, that you don't kill anyone to buy cannabis. Even if your worst pothead friend don't even sell his TB to buy cannabis. Just happen to have, okay, well, smoke tomorrow. You probably fall asleep.
Where are you gonna watch TV while smoke?
Exactly. And so the levels of addictions, again, it's going to depend on the personality. But again, cannabis is the less chemical addictive drug that we have in the market.
But it is some addictive, but less than most. Is that what you're saying?
Less than sugar.
Okay.
Definitely. Sugar is number one.
So maybe it works the other way. So you could, for anybody that's involved with like heavier drugs, maybe instead of a gateway drug, it might be a gateway drug, but to go down, to lessen your.
What people do in the rehabs, and this is something that we know, when you get into a rehab, they give you more drugs in order to cope with that exit. Like you cannot quit heroin cold turkey, for example. You cannot quit alcohol cold turkey, and that's what doctors tell you. Even with the medications, sometimes, antidepressive, you cannot leave the antidepressive like, yeah, one day I'm gonna quit and that's it. You're gonna have withdrawals with all the medications, and you need to have different drugs and different coping therapies that they will gonna give you. And most of the time, what they're gonna give you is more methadone or other drugs that it can also, get into your body and make feel that those receptors from opioids are getting there. And that's actually what happened with even sex, because we deliver dopamine, and dopamine goes to your opioid receptors. But cannabis go to different receptors, to the endocannabinoid and the CB1 and CB2 receptors. There are receptors that we have all over our body, even in our blood.
Wow.
Yes, our blood cells have receptors for cannabinoids that, again, we don't have those receptors for any other chemical the same amount. And in these cannabinoids have a function, in these receptors, every time that receive a cannabinoid, have something to do that it's going to help, again, your body. It's not going to, like the opioids, it's not going to cut the alarm, but without doing anything. This is going to go actually to the main core of what is happening.
Gotcha.
And you have even cannabinoids inside the plants. They can transform inside your body into the cannabinoids that you need. No, it's incredible. Wow. It's really, again, mind-blowing.
Right. Mind-blowing, or in your case, life-changing. So,
totally.
Yeah. And
lifesaver.
A lifesaver. I was about to say, would you say at this point you would say that it saved your life, literally?
Totally. Mine and my kid life too.
Wow.
Because my kid is completely happy. He's a different person. He graduates. He's going to college, and it was a kid that he was in therapy and in a psychiatric hospital every week.
Wow.
Just having a normal life, basically.
It's
crazy, and how much, or how many people still believe that this plant is still bad, is the bridge to the other drugs, or is addictive.
The harvest of the devil.
Yeah. Right. So, but then
the devil's lettuce.
Yeah. and then you get like this type of stories where like, okay.
Where it makes a difference. Yeah. But if you notice, she's extremely educated on the subject. She connected with pharmacists. She connected with doctors to get her to this point. And maybe it's the dumb people on the side that just take it, like she was explaining, that create these stigmas, that just take it without knowing what they're doing, not knowing any strands, and just let me get addictively, let me take whatever I can, as much as I can, wherever I can. They do dumb shit. They destroy lives, and it's not, including their own, not based on anything that they did it with a good education, but maybe what we should be promoting is, let's do it more, let's do it, but in this example, with someone that's studied, that cares to learn more, that does it in a balance.
Yeah, more educated.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's promote the education,
with some thought behind it.
I'm not promoting cannabis. I'm promoting education, and education to a functional medicine as well. The functional medicine is the one that, create the whole, your whole life is in favor of your health. And that is how we have to live. That's how we have to eat. That's how we have to teach our kids to eat. The amount of cancer that we have in our kids right now, it's insane. The amount of bad, the heart problems that we have, all the genetics, even problems that we are repeating for not eating probably the right amount of folic acid. Come on, right. We know that. Every time someone is talking about getting pregnant or start a life, the first thing that your doctor is going to send you is folic acid. And even more regular genetic things are resolved by that. And there's food that have already these folic acids, and there's food that have already cannabinoids as well, because cannabis also help you to create the perfect balance, and this homeostasis is also it's also passed to your genetics, DNA in your. And actually, there's some studies that only CBD, which is the non-psychoactive molecule of cannabis, one of them, but this is not psychoactive, and it's one of like really famous right now that everybody's taking. That molecule can change your DNA, something that we never thought that it was possible. That it, like it's someone that knows science right now, they're gonna hear me say that and it's gonna say, "Oh my God, this girl is totally stupid," but it is. There's already a study that it's proven that it can reset in some cases, like epileptic cases. There's some epileptic illness and some disease, and like Lennox-Gastaut and Dravet, and there's a lot of like cases from that illness that is being only with 6 months of CBD, and the kid cannot take, and doesn't have to take more than 6 months. It will never had another
come
episode
back again. Wow, it's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
So what about someone like us that will just do it recreationally, or some of our more crazier friends that do it beyond recreationally? But what is the negative to it? Do you see any negative to it for someone that's not literally medicinally using it? Is there a negative to someone that?
Of course, like everything in life, if you don't do anything with your life and just wanna smoke pot, that is very negative.
Right.
But if you want to read as well and don't do anything with your life, that's also if you want to play X game, like a Nintendo or whatever, like games all the time and don't do anything.
Chemistry 28 hours a day.
Exactly, and not working on it,
Right.
you're not going to be able to pay the rent. So
Right.
we have to keep moving forward and look for our necessities. We live in a community that it had to be educated. And again, not just cannabis is the only plant that it have cannabinoids. Carrots, broccoli,
Right.
pepper. They chocolate also. It's stimulate of your.
I was thinking more specific things, like for someone that, like maybe a parent that's listening and is considering trying to help their kid that's old enough to smoke, obviously, but has a certain concern of
side effects or something.
Like, what is a specific negative that could happen?
Well, again, the worst thing that could happen with cannabis is what we already know. You can have like those, how do you call it, like bad trips, that you overdose yourself, because you cannot die with cannabis, but you can overdose. That is possible. And the overdose of cannabis is when you pass your dosage and you start throwing up. You start even having diarrhea. I've been seeing those cases. People faint, like they're
Sweat glands.
Yes, exactly. They're like white, like we call it pálida in Venezuela, because you get very pale.
Did the ghost look?
Exactly. So that is an OD of marijuana. You're not going to die, but you're not going to feel okay. And that, like you say, for an edible, it could be even in 48 hours. It can last even 48 hours.
Right.
So it's not a comfortable feeling. And even that is something that has been happening a lot since legalization of recreational cannabis here in Colorado. We have a lot of people that get a gummy and go to the hospital, and the doctors will say, "Okay, let me give you some
water,
some
water.
Here's some munchies."
Yes, some popcorn. No, but they waste resources in the hospitals. They waste time for people that really need to, like get real emergencies for a condition that they're not going to die, and that people should know, like what to do when you're OD with cannabis.
Right.
Go to sleep. You will sleep like never ever. That will be like the best sleep that you will have, because it really makes you sleep. One of the things that are being used in most is also to go back to the sleep, like sleep disorders. It's amazing for sleep disorders, for neurological problems, for immune system problems like MS or even fibromyalgia, like all these autoimmune disease conditions are amazing for that. And
how does it help with MS?
Well, it actually reduces the inflammation. It even help you with the visual, like when they have the eye problems,
right.
and there's also been in the brain when people have MS, their brain also tend to create scar tissue balls, from the brain of the how do you call it,
brain cell.
The whole brain, like it's pretty much, and it interrupt the synapses. So that's why, sometimes people lose mobilities in different parts. There's studies as well that have been saying, and they've been showing people that are being reconnected. They having synapses through those scar tissues. That's something that has been only been doing with cannabis and specifically with THC. There's already a medication called Sativex that is given by the Social Security in Spain, for example, Germany and I think UK. And this medication is the first medication in the market, pharmaceutical, that is extract from cannabis directly. They have THC, have CBD, and it also have different components, but this has been helping a lot, and it's already recommended by doctors, by like paying by insurance in different countries because it's working. We have the clinical studies.
By real doctors, not your neighborhood.
Exactly.
Not your best friend with the white lab coat. Yep.
Please, that's something very important that we need to ask our doctors about everything that we put in our body. I will say even chia. You see.
I think there was a study that came out that for kids they started consuming marijuana young age, and especially recreational. There's some effects on their brains.
Well, there's these studies that I've been doing to prove that, but they didn't prove anything. They didn't prove more than, like you have a little bit loss of memory by the time that you're high, which of course, ask anyone. You don't have to do study.
You could be drunk and have the same effect.
But another thing is that the fact that we produce the same cannabinoids that the plant can produce, for example, THC does exactly the same. The THC is the molecule that make you high, and the one that okay, that molecule is exactly the same as the molecule that we have in our body called anandamide, and it's a molecule of happiness. So every time we are happy, we experiment happiness, we are segregating this amino acid that is a cannabinoid that is called anandamide, that is exactly the same as THC. So it makes me think, that they probably will not find anything bad to give, kids cannabis because it's nothing bad with the product that we produce. Like you don't tell your kid, stop producing anandamide, don't be happy until you are 21 because that's illegal. No, we produce cannabinoids since the day they were born. Actually, the fact that we are born is because of a cannabinoid. That this endocannabinoid system that we have, it's also responsible for pH in our body, for the balance and regulate the temperature and hunger. So when the sperms get into woman womb and are looking for the ovule, how do you say it? Ovulo?
Ovulates?
Like the egg. It's looking for the egg.
That thing, the woman.
They're swimming. And the fact that they are not being killing by all our process of protection is because the endocannabinoid system recognize the other genetic part for male and reduce the pH, and we let this guy go to the egg, and that's how we get born. So even the fact that we are here is because we have an endocannabinoid system. So I don't think there's anything wrong. My concern, don't drug your kids because it's bad.
Right.
no one deserves to be drugged without the knowledge.
Right.
And that also goes not just for the kid, but for the friends that wants to do the brownies.
Right. Yeah.
I'm going to do a party with the brownies and this, it's going to be awesome. That probably even can cause that someone that feel bad with cannabis in that party and will need cannabis in the future for medical reason will not even try it.
Won't even try it. Yeah.
Right. True.
So, you can even cut in the time of your friend time, with you.
Right.
It can have more consequences than just,
or it sounds like just be more careful with edibles. It seems like edibles are what's getting a lot of people in trouble. And
that's another worry.
Right.
Like,
yes.
Jesus.
Edible is super strong and it lasts longer.
Yeah. Yeah. My thing lasts like 2 days. I was high like 2 days. I was like,
crazy.
this is enough. Like by the next day, you're like, come on. I need to go.
I need to be normal, please.
Yeah, I want to be normal. Go back to bed. Sleep for another 10 hours.
Perfect. You're just healing yourself.
Maybe you needed it.
It's like a sleep cure, like when you go to.
All right, Danielle. Well, we're always short on time because this topic always, we can go for hours.
Go forever, yeah.
But let's tell people where they can find more information about what you do, and I want to ask you you're doing something with a comedian now, right? Another project.
Yes, we are. We just found Cana Madres, which is kind of like Cana Mom. But my partner in this education process is from Peru. Her name is Oriana Chicone, and she's actually the daughter of the first stand-up comedian from Peru. Oh. So, and she's also doing comedy about motherhood and cannabis. So we're trying to get more education through every way that we can, and especially for being mothers, we need to have a space where it's healthier for us to ask about all this type of thing that we have in mind. Can I cook with hemp? Can I cook with cannabis? Can I have this for this medication? What happened if my kid accidentally take my medication? Which is another thing. We have to keep our medication out of reach of the kids no matter what. Cannabis is by law one of the most, drugs that they tell you have to keep it away from the kids. But the reality is that if our kids take our cannabis and drink our cannabis or eat our cannabis, they're not going to die. But if they take our lorazepam or any other medication, they can die. And that is real risk. So not just with cannabis, with every single drug, we have to be careful as mothers that our kids are not taking our medications.
Cool. Well, you have to come back to tell us more about the other stuff. But for now, where they can find more information about
right. Yes. Well, our information is all in Spanish, and it's in www.canalatino.com. If you have any Latino family that they really wanted to know, because sometimes that's what happened. They cross language, we wanted to tell our friends, our family how good this is, but because it's not in our language, people do not believe us.
Right.
So that's why we have Cana Latino, and also soon, I think already for the next month, like in the next month, we're going to have in Amazon What I Know and Some Recipes. That is my first book about cannabis.
Nice. Fun.
Sweet. Where's the social media?
Social media, Cana Latino all over the way. Instagram, Facebook, any, Twitter. We are Cana Latino. And also the book is already in Spanish in Amazon.
Yeah, sweet.
Nice.
And if anyone is wants to tell their friends about more information too, we have another, in my other podcast is in Spanish. So for anyone who's interested in kind of same information, we have more information about the Cana Latino. They can go to Nucleo Rock and take a look at the episode we have with Danielle.
That was
it's
awesome.
all the information in Spanish, so people can check it out. Very educational. So that's the good thing we're doing is now
Tearing down the stigmas.
Yeah,
Yes,
definitely.
make it the new normal.
That's a good term. Normalizing it.
Normalize. Yeah, there's already an organization called Normal in order to normalize the use of cannabis, because it's definitely, it have to be really normal, you know. And if you go to the legalities, when you see cannabis is in Schedule 1 with heroin, but we use heroin for medicine. Sure. We don't use cannabis for anything. So what is that?
There's a lot of things that don't make sense.
lot to talk about.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you for coming, Danielle.
Thank you for having me here.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
All right. Where they can find us?
They could find us at the Concoction Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, the Concoction One, Twitter. They could listen to us on Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, same thing, the Concoction Podcast. And they could watch us on YouTube. They could watch this particular episode here in about a week or so, for sure. Maybe even less. So.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you for coming. And please, people, like and share and
subscribe.
Subscribe. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.